Okay, so in the last class we have talked about client and server, right? So just revising these topics again. What is client? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is client? Who sends a request to perform a specific
The
task?
client.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So clients are those who send a request to perform a specific task to the server, right? And the servers are those who normally receive the command sent by the client and performs the tasks and send the appropriate result back to the client. Okay, just one example that I have cited in the last class that your client is PC, whereas the server is a large workstation. Okay, the client machine runs own copy of an operating system. It runs one or more applications through client's CPU and memory, but the server runs a database management system which manages the whole database. This is an example of a simple client-server system of that type of database. Okay, now what are the differences between client system and server system? First, a client is a system that who sends the request, you already got it to the server system, and the server who has to respond that request as a result. Okay, and a client system is managed by the users, whereas the server system is managed by a computer expert. Then no need of a computer expert in case of client system. Then client system is a system on which the results are prepared and displayed, whereas the server system is a system in which the information is prepared for the client, right? So I think these differences are clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Among them, the last one is very important. It is this one. Okay. The client system is a system on which the results are prepared and displayed, whereas the server system is a system in which the information is prepared for the client. Well, now, if we talk about the different types of client-server architecture, normally we have three of them. First one is single-tier client-server computing model. Okay. Then the next one is two-tier client-server computing model, and the third one is three-tier client-server computing model. Okay. Let's go to the first one. So first one is the single-tier client-server architecture. So ये figure को देखो पहले. Look at this figure. What do you got this from figure? ये figure से आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है?
So client and the server are in the same place.
Okay. Next. Look at this figure carefully and tell me what you have got it from this figure.
Sir, client are connected to a single server. All the client are connected to a single server.
ठीक है. दो रिस्पॉन्स मिल चुके हैं और बताओ. Come on. बहुत आसान है. अच्छे से देखो इस फिगर को पहले.
Clients are directly connected to the file server.
Okay, good. Aru? Okay, so maximum responses I have got. They said that these clients are connected to the server, and this means they are located in the same place, right? ठीक है, तो फिर देखते हैं definition क्या बोलते हैं. Okay, Single tier architecture is the first type of client server computing model. That's why the term single or first tier. Okay. Here, the client server database system used on a personal computer, and in a single tier system, the database is centralized. You can underline this term. This means here the database is centralized, and about the centralized database architecture, I think discussed in the first lecture, right? Which means the DBMS software and the data in one location and the dump terminals were used to access the database management system. So this is the definition of single tier architecture. Okay, अब मुझे बताओ क्या आप लोगों ने जो रेस्पॉन्स दिया था are they are matched with this definition or not? What Rajesh said that they are the same location. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now from your definition and compare your definition with this point. क्या दोनों same है?
Yes, sir. In personal computer. Yes, sir.
ठीक है. और कोई बोलने से यहाँ पे कौन है अभी? रुको. अरे ये लोग सब म्यूट क्यों हैं? प्रणाली, भाग्यश्री, Devasis, Divyans. What happened to you guys? Why you are not responding? Pranali, asa tumi?
Asu, sir.
Ki bujisa? Kiba response to I have not got a single response from your side. So anyway, so they are used on the same PC. Obviously, this means what? The same location. So Rajesh is of course correct. And then they are connected to each other. Who said that? I think Gautam and someone else also.
Sir, Robert.
Sir, yes, sir.
Robert. So that is also correct. So you have got that what is single tier architecture. Okay. I'm repeating it again. In a single tier client server computing model, the client server database system is using a single computer or personal computer. Okay, here the database is centralized, and this means DBMS software and the data in one location, and the terminals were used to access. Terminals means you can create your own account, and through that account you can access the kernel through that terminal. Okay, so overall they are at the same location and they are being connected to each other, right? No middle tier between them. So that is our single tier architecture. Okay. Now look at this diagram again. I hope these points are clear to you now. Okay, can I move to the second tier architecture?
Yes, sir.
Well, now look at this figure. आप ये इसको देखो, आप इस फिगर को देखो, ठीक है? इस फिगर को अच्छे से देखो, एक बार स्क्रीनशॉट खींच लो इसका, और उसके बाद इसका भी एक स्क्रीनशॉट खींचो, ठीक है? Take a screenshot of this one also. Now compare the differences between them, between one tier architecture and the two tier architecture. What is the difference that you have noticed? I want response from each of you. इसका स्क्रीनशॉट खींच लिया सब? Have you taken that?
Yes, sir.
और रुको, और इसका खींच लिया? This one is taken or not?
Yes, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Now dono,
Yes, sir.
now look at both these figures carefully and take 1 or 2 minutes of time and tell me the differences between them. Okay, Rajesh, कुछ बोलना चाहते हो? बोलो.
Sir, so between client and server database, So some interfere or border is between there.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
Sir, the database server is located in different place in comparison to the first tier.
Okay, good.
So there is probably an application programming interface.
Okay, good. I1.
Sir, the client computers are not directly connected to the database server.
Okay.
There is a direct communication between client and the server, but no intermediate connection.
In which case? Two tier or single tier? I want more 20 more responses. Okay, I have seen 23 participants. Right, Rajesh?
Yes,
So
sir.
the client server and database are on the same machines in one-tier architecture.
Huh?
So the client server and database are on the same machine in the one-tier architecture, and the client server, and the client is is in another system, and the server and database is in another system for the two-tier architecture.
Okay, good. Next.
Sir, in one-tier architecture, client and server are placed in a single place, sir, in the same place. And in two-tier architecture, sir, client and the data server has been placed in different area. And so there is a direct communication takes place between client and server in two-tier architecture, but no intermediate connection, sir, between client and server.
Good. ठीक है. Okay. Any more response?
Sir, in two-tier architecture, one client computer can only one client computer can connect at one time.
Okay. Okay, ठीक है. I'm coming to the definition part now. So, two-tier client-server architecture is the second type, of course, and it uses two computers and one client-server system. It may be more than two; it doesn't matter. But at the early stages, client-server computing, it was called two-tier computing model, in which client is considered as the data capture and validation tier, and the server was considered as the data storage tier. Now, आप ये figure को देखो, first tier and second tier. So first tier, you have seen, this is the client part, and what are the tasks associated? User interface, presentation services, and then application services, right? And in the second tier, that will be the data server. Okay, what are the tasks associated? Of course, application services, in this case, that those services requested by the application services from the client part, they will be responded for this one, then the business services and the data services. So now we have divided these tasks into two parts. In the first case, now we have termed that the first tier as the client tier and the second tier as the data server part. Okay, so you have got these tasks actually belong to the first tier, and this task belongs to the second tier, right? So now you tell me, what have you got from these differences? What have you got from these tasks? Yes? हाँ राजेश बोलो. इससे क्या समझ में आया? आपने देखा कि फर्स्ट टायर जो है क्लाइंट है, नाउ सेकंड टायर है डेटा सर्वर है, ठीक है. पहले केस में जो था हमने ऐसा रिवीजन नहीं
Sir,
देखा.
first tier in Sir, in first tier we use for personal computer, and in second tier we use for the business services
That is the
tasks.
server part. Okay.
Sir.
हाँ हम सर्वर यूज कर रहे हैं सेकेंड टायर में पहले ऐसा
Yes,
कुछ नहीं
sir.
पहले सेंट्रलाइज डाटाबेस हम यूज कर रहे थे सेंट्रलाइज डाटाबेस सिस्टम यूज कर रहे थे जैसे हम नॉर्मली करते हैं ठीक है उसमें अलग अलग
Yes, sir.
टर्मिनल्स रहेगा वो DBMS जो है ठीक है उस टर्मिनल्स को हमारा जो जिस लोकेशन पे हमारा फाइल स्टोर है उससे कनेक्ट करेंगे और फाइल्स को मैनिपुलेट करेंगे नाउ दिस सर्वर इज पार्ट इज टोटली सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम द क्लाइंट पार्ट this is your
Yes, sir.
PC okay you are sending the request and now the requests have been served from the server side and that is the second tier ठीक है now have you got
Yes,
the
sir.
differences between the first tier and second tier
Yes, sir.
okay so some problems we have found in the two tier architecture okay what are they आपको क्या लगता है क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकते हैं इस टू टायर आर्किटेक्चर में See, in the 1990s, when applications were more complex and used with hundreds and thousands of end users, the two-tier server model could not meet the need of the enterprise. Right? The first, an efficient client requiring considerable resources on client's computer to run effectively, and this will include what? First of all, RAM, okay, and your specs also, and the CPU power, okay. Then client machines require administrations which results overhead at the server. So these two differences basically we have found in case of two-tier architecture. So these are the two problems associated with the two-tier architecture. So first problem क्या है जब हमारे पास number of users ज़्यादा हो जाएगा when our number of users increased then what would happen एक प्रॉब्लम आपको दिखाई देगा उसको हम नॉर्मली कहते हैं क्या सुना है इस टर्म को have you heard this term
Server down. Yes, sir.
okay so when the same application is being requested from suppose thousands of users okay the server might not be able to serve those thousands requests at the same time and in such situations we usually face some problem that is this one okay and that is the problem with the case of two-tier architects and why this problem occurs because of these three resources okay if we don't have enough resources like disk space RAM CPU suppose आपने सर्वर आपका जो सर्वर है उसमें आपने सिर्फ 2 GB का रैम यूज किया है ठीक है और ये जो प्रोसेसर है आप सपोज IT यूज कर रहे हो ठीक है कैन इट सोल्व द रिक्वेस्ट एफिशिएंटली yes or no
Yes, sir.
so it may not be able to serve the request efficiently when the number of requests will be increased okay even more than 1000 so in that case we need to change the configuration we need to increase the configuration say from 2 GB to say 8 GB and send IT to say i7 or more powerful processor okay so these are the problems that we might face in the case of two-tier architecture और इसका सॉल्यूशन ये है कि आप इस डिस्पैच को बढ़ाओ रैम बढ़ाओ ठीक है सीपीयू का कॉन्फ़िगरेशन जो है आप पावरफुल जैसे कि i7 है और उससे भी जो भी अभी आ रहा है वो सब यूज कर सकते हैं so these are the problems with two-tier architecture I hope these all points are clear to you ठीक है
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
now after that we have three-tier architecture so in actually the task is same means clients are sending the requests and server are serving those requests okay server are sending the responses but the way of doing this is now different in the case of this first tier, second tier, and third tier architecture. We have generated 3 layers in case of 3-tier architecture. How? Because the first layer is the user interface which runs on the client system. Okay. The second layer is the application server, and it is used for business logic and data processing. And the third layer is known as database server, and it is a database management system which stores the data as needed by the middle layer. तो 3 लेयर है. पहला लेयर क्या है? यूजर इंटरफेस. ठीक है, यूजर इंटरफेस के बारे में बोलने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. आई होप यू ऑल नो व्हाट इज यूजर इंटरफेस, राइट?
Yes, sir.
देन सेकेंड लेयर इज द एप्लीकेशन सर्वर. इसका काम है डाटा प्रोसेसिंग करना. ठीक है, बिजनेस लॉजिक एंड डाटा प्रोसेसिंग. ओके. द थर्ड लेयर इज द मेन पार्ट, जहाँ पे हमारा डाटाबेस सर्वर है, एंड इट इज यूजिंग एक्चुअली आवर DBMS, and with that DBMS, those requests, those queries being processed. Okay, so this is the first layer, this is the second layer, this is the third layer. As we have 3 layers, so that's why we have termed this as 3-tier architecture. Okay, now look at this figure. So take a screenshot of this figure. See, we have presentation layer, we have application, we have data access layer. Presentation layer, business logic layer, and database tier. Okay. Presentations, where we are using these interfaces. Business, where we are processing the data. Data processing is done. Database tier, of course, those queries being raised, being served. Means what? We are using DML, we are using DDL, or sometimes we are using DCL. Okay. So accordingly, we have 3 layers in the case of 3-tier architecture. Is this diagram clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, compare 2-tier architecture with 3-tier architecture. Okay, this question may come. So for that, you can draw this diagram. So see, in the first case, this is the 2-tier architecture. These are the clients and database. The second tier is the first tier. Now this is the 3-tier architecture, right? So this is the client part, and this is the second processing part, and this is the database tier part, that is presentation. In the case of presentations, what clients we are using? Like suppose you are using browsers like Google Chrome.
Internet Explorer.
Google Chrome is also a client. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Internet Explorer, then Firefox. So these are the clients. Then you need to process the data. And for processing part, you are using like suppose Apache server. Okay, I hope you have heard this. Then like IIS. Okay, I want to know from you what is IIS. कोई बता सकते हैं कि IIS क्या है? ये आपके लिए होमवर्क है. What IIS does actually, you'll write for comment to this video. Okay. हर कोई रेस्पॉन्स करना है इस चीज पे. ये IIS क्या है? ठीक है, कैसे काम करते हैं?
The Internet Information Service.
Okay, very good. But I want response from all of you, which you will do after this class, because only 1 minute left. After that, you will respond that. Then database, no doubt, don't need to say that we can use here. But MySQL, then we have Oracle, right? So in that
Yes, sir.
way, the whole task is being divided into 3 layers. First is what? The first is the presentation. Second,
Yes,
logic. Because
business tier, logic
yeah,
system.
business logic tier. Good. Then third is the database tier.
Tier.
I hope this is clear to all of you, because sometimes the question
Yes, sir.
will be asked that what is the difference between 2-tier architecture and the 3-tier architecture. And believe me, the difference is that how you are presenting it actually, how the task is being done in the 3 different layers. That is the case of 3-tiered architecture. And if we are assuming only two layers, then that becomes our 2-tiered architecture.
2-tier architecture.
So
Yes, sir.
I hope you have given the attendance to the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Also, Bujipala, you have got all the points that I have discussed today.